Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a topic that's it's been making a lot of noise in the tech world, especially looking towards 2025. AI agents. You really can't take two steps online without stumbling over an article calling this the year of the AI agent. We're told they'll transform how work gets done, impact, pretty much every facet of our lives. But what exactly is an AI agent? And maybe more importantly, how do we cut through all the hype? How do we understand what's real, what's actually coming, and what it all means for you? So for this deep dive, we've pulled together insights from, a stack of sources reports from IBM, BotPress, Deloitte, Google Cloud, even some lively discussions from Reddit, actually. Our mission today is simple. Give you a shortcut. A shortcut to being genuinely well-informed about AI agents, maybe with a few surprising facts thrown in. Okay, let's unpack this then. Let's start with the basics. We hear AI agents everywhere, but I think a lot of people are still wondering, isn't this just like a fancy new name for a really smart chatbot? What's the real difference between an agent and, say, a clever bot, or even the sophisticated AI assistants we're already kind of used to?
That's a great question, and honestly, it gets right to the heart of some of the confusion out there. The term AI agent, it gets used pretty broadly. But at its core, an AI agent is an intelligent system. It's designed to perceive its environment, make decisions, and crucially, act autonomously to achieve specific goals. Think of them as software systems using AI to pursue goals for you, completing tasks, showing reasoning, planning, memory. And they have this notable level of autonomy. They make their own decisions, learn, adapt.
Okay, autonomy. So how does that really stack up against chatbots or assistants? Because, sometimes it feels like calling something an agent is just putting a new label on fancy automation.
Yeah, it can feel that way, but the distinction is pretty crucial if we sort of line them up. AI agents, they're proactive, goal-driven. They can handle complex, multi-step actions, learn as they go, adapt, make independent choices. No constant hand-holding needed.
Okay.
AI assistants, they're more reactive, designed to help users. They respond to requests, give info, do simpler tasks, maybe suggest things, but ultimately you decide.
Right, like Alexa or Siri.
Exactly. And then bots. They're the simplest. They follow predefined rules, usually. Limited learning, basic interactions, often just reacting to triggers. Very rigid. So the key difference, it really boils down to autonomy. Agents have the most. They operate and decide independently. Assistants and bots need more direction or stick to narrower scripts. Which, naturally, leads to the next question. How do they actually do that? How do they achieve this autonomy? What's happening, under the hood?
Yeah, exactly where my head went. It sounds like a lot needs to happen for them to make those independent decisions. What's their thinking process like? Can we even call it that?
We can, sort of. AI agents operate through this structured, continuous cycle.
Yeah.
They sense, they think, and then they act.
Sense, think, act. Okay.
Right. So sense, that's perception. They gather data from their surroundings, from users, maybe through sensors, APIs, databases, whatever gives them context. Super important step.
Understanding the world around them.
Precisely. Then comes think. This is where the intelligence really shines. They take that data, they analyze it, reason through possible actions, and choose the best path to hit their goals. They use complex logic, algorithms, models. This could be simple rule-based systems for easy tasks, like adjusting a thermostat.
Okay.
Or for more complex stuff like pattern recognition or prediction, they use machine learning models. Think recommendation engines suggesting movies.
Right, based on what you've watched.
Exactly. And for things like understanding images or speech, they use neural networks. That's what powers many virtual assistants. They can optimize for just one goal, like the fastest route, or they might have to balance multiple things like a self-driving car, juggling safety, fuel efficiency, and speed all at once.
That's complex.
It is. And crucially, they adapt in real time. This involves what we call sequential decision-making, like a chatbot managing a whole conversation, turn by turn. They can be proactive, looking ahead, or reactive, adjusting to sudden changes, like that self-driving car hitting unexpected traffic.
And the final step, act.
Act. This is where the decisions turn into outcomes. Generating text, creating visuals, maybe even physical actions, like a robot moving boxes in a warehouse. And for complicated tasks, they break them down. Multi-step actions. That self-driving car isn't just driving, it's plotting, detecting, adjusting constantly.
And learning from it.
Yes. Integrating feedback is key, refining actions over time. Whether it's immediate feedback, improving recommendations, or, say, delayed feedback, tweaking a marketing campaign's effectiveness. What's really powerful, I think, is how they blend that past knowledge with real-time data. Makes their decisions context-aware, even when things are unpredictable. This is especially true for these model-based reflex agents.
Model-based reflex agents.
Yeah, think of them as agents that build an internal map or model of their world. This lets them predict outcomes and plan more effectively than just reacting instinctively. It's a step up in sophistication.
So it sounds like there isn't just one kind of AI agent. There are different flavors, different ways they operate or interact.
That's a perfect way to put it. We can classify them in a few ways, like how they interact with us or how many agents are involved.
Okay, tell me more.
So, by interaction style, you have interactive partners, sometimes called surface agents. These work directly with you. Think customer service, healthcare, education maybe, personalized help, often conversational, responding to your queries.
Like a supercharged assistant I talk to?
Kind of, yeah. Then you have autonomous background processes, or background agents. These guys work behind the scenes, automating routine stuff, analyzing data, optimizing things, maybe spotting problems proactively. Less human interaction, more event-driven, working through task queues.
Okay, so front stage and backstage agents.
Exactly. And then we can also look at them by the number of agents. Single agent systems, just one agent working alone on a specific goal. Great for well-defined tasks where collaboration isn't needed.
Makes sense.
But then you have multi-agent systems. This is where things get really interesting. Multiple AI agents collaborate, or sometimes they even compete. Yeah, maybe to find the best solution or resource allocation. But often, they collaborate to achieve a common goal or manage individual goals within a larger system. This synergy is vital for tackling really complex problems.
Like what kind of problems?
Well, think about smart grids. You've got numerous agents managing different parts of electricity distribution, all working together to balance supply and demand, integrate renewables. It's a massive coordination task.
Why?
Or supply chain management. Imagine agents representing suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, retailers, all coordinating to optimize everything from getting raw materials to delivering the final product.
That sounds incredibly efficient if it works.
It can be. Even air traffic control systems are using this idea. Hierarchical agents, higher level ones managing big regions, lower level ones handling specific takeoffs and landings at airports.
It's incredible how these different types fit together. That multi-agent approach, though, it must introduce its own set of complexities, maybe even vulnerabilities.
Absolutely. Coordination, communication protocols, potential conflicts. It adds layers of complexity to manage. But the potential payoff in handling large-scale dynamic problems is huge.
Right. Now, let's get to the really fun part. Where are we actually seeing these agents in action today? What are some concrete, real-world examples?
Okay, yeah. They're already tackling tasks that, frankly, were impossible to automate before, pushing boundaries in lots of industries. Autonomous vehicles, self-driving cars are probably the most visible example. Multiple agent types working together to navigate, optimize safety, efficiency, speed. It's all happening in real time.
Definitely a big one.
In e-commerce, agents are placing orders, tracking shipping, maybe finally telling you where that missing package is, handling image searches for products, sending those cart abandonment emails, offering personalized suggestions.
Ah, the cart abandonment emails. Agents are behind those.
Often, yes. For sales and marketing, they're building lead lists, personalizing outreach, qualifying leads. Some sources say even better than humans, sometimes planning campaigns, analyzing competitors.
Better than humans at qualifying leads. That's a bold claim.
Well, they can process vast amounts of data very quickly to spot patterns, but yeah, the human touch still matters for closing, usually. In customer support, they're taking action now, not just answering questions, changing passwords, processing refunds. We saw sources saying clients cut support tickets by up to 65% using agents.
65%, that's huge.
It is. Hotels and hospitality too agents can be multilingual, work 24/7, handle room service requests, suggest local spots, help staff coordinate. It's a natural fit.
I can see that.
And many of us interact with something like the Google Assistant. It pulls web info, schedules things, controls smart home devices, does real-time translation, deeply integrated, acting on your behalf across Google services. But it's not just customer-facing stuff. Behind the scenes, too, code agents are speeding up software development, generating code, assisting developers, even helping them learn new languages faster.
As a former coder, that's intriguing.
Right. Security agents are helping bolster security by mitigating attacks, speeding up investigations across the whole security lifecycle. Data agents are tackling complex data analysis, finding insights and acting on them, while keeping an eye on data integrity. Creative agents are helping generate content, images, ideas, assisting with writing, personalization. supercharging the design process.
So creative fields, too.
Yep. And employee agents are boosting internal productivity, streamlining processes, handling repetitive tasks, managing internal comms.
It really is becoming ubiquitous. So this brings us back to 2025. We've heard all this buzz. Is the reality matching the hype? Are we truly in the year of the agent, or is it still mostly potential?
Yeah, it's crucial to ask how much of that media hype, holds water. We hear quotes like NVIDIA's Jensen Huang saying, "The age of agentic AI has arrived." Forbes repeats it. But the reality on the ground is, well, it's more nuanced.
How so?
What's often being called agents in the market right now, a lot of it involves adding some basic planning and tool calling features to existing large language models. So the LLM can break down a complex request into smaller steps and maybe use a couple of tools like search or a calculator.
Okay, so it's a step up from just answering questions.
It is. But the true definition of an AI agent, the one we've been discussing, involves robust reasoning, planning, and crucially, the ability to autonomously take significant actions to achieve goals.
And are we there yet? With that level of full autonomy where you give it a complex goal and it just runs with it, figures everything out?
Most experts we looked at acknowledge, frankly, we're not fully there yet. We're seeing promising early glimpses for sure. Agents can analyze data, predict trends, automate certain workflows pretty well. But building agents that can autonomously handle really complex, nuanced decision-making, that requires big leaps in contextual reasoning, understanding the real world, and massive amounts of testing, especially for those tricky edge cases.
So still some ways to go for the full vision.
Yes, but there's definitely optimism. Robust agents are coming. Some experts even believe we don't necessarily need huge breakthroughs in the models themselves right now to build more capable agents.
Really? So if the models are potentially good enough, what's the bottleneck? What's holding things back?
This might be the surprising part. Often the challenge isn't the AI model itself, it's the organizations. As one source put it, most organizations aren't agent ready.
Not agent ready. What does that mean?
It means the really exciting work isn't just tweaking the AI. It's about getting the internal plumbing right, exposing the necessary APIs, structuring the data infrastructure within companies so these agents can actually connect to systems, access information, and operate effectively.
So it's an integration and data access problem within businesses.
Largely, yes.
Yeah.
Getting the house in order so the agents can actually do their work inside the enterprise.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, a system's becoming this powerful and potentially autonomous, we have to talk about the downsides. What are the challenges, the risks we need to be thinking about? It can't be all smooth sailing.
No, absolutely not. And as agents get more sophisticated, the considerations definitely grow. One major area is tasks needing deep human empathy, emotional intelligence, complex social skills. Agents really struggle here. They can't truly interpret human emotions well. So roles like therapy, social work, complex conflict resolution, they're just not suitable. Agents lack that moral compass, that nuanced judgment needed for ethically heavy situations, law enforcement, critical healthcare diagnoses.
So don't expect an AI therapist anytime soon.
Probably not a good idea. They also struggle in highly dynamic, unpredictable physical environments, things requiring complex motor skills and real-time adaptation, like surgery or disaster response.
Physical limitations. Okay.
And there's a practical challenge. Building and running these sophisticated agents can be really expensive, computationally intensive, resource-heavy, might not be feasible for smaller projects or organizations on tight budgets.
Right, the cost factor.
But what's really fascinating, and maybe a bit scary, is the scale of risk. One source put it bluntly, technology doesn't think, it can't be responsible. Because agents can act so incredibly fast, the risk of accidental mistakes, like data leaks or deletions, happening at scale before a human even notices, that risk is higher.
Faster mistakes, bigger consequences potentially.
Exactly, which leads directly to accountability. If an agent messes up, who's responsible? Ultimately, it's going to be a human within the organization.
Someone has to carry the can.
Precisely. So that makes transparency and traceability absolutely paramount. You have to know what the agent is doing, why it's doing it, and be able to track, trace, and ideally control every single action it takes. You need that audit trail. So while playing around with the tech, experimenting freely, is valuable, developers really need to be cautious, especially about the models they use, the data they train on, data privacy. Sure. It's critical.
Absolutely critical. So given all these challenges, but also the immense potential, how should organizations approach this? How do you design and manage these agents, especially multi-agent systems, responsibly and effectively?
Yeah, this ties into that whole idea of sustainable, trustworthy AI development. The experts we reviewed highlighted some key principles, both for individual agents and for those multi-agent systems, aiming for efficiency, effectiveness, robustness, reliability, and trustworthiness.
Okay, what are some of those principles?
For individual AI agents, things like a domain-driven approach, design them based on specific business needs, not just generic tech. Role-based design, have agents perform defined roles, not just isolated tasks, makes them more coherent.
Like a job description for the agent.
Sort of, yeah. Find the right balance in their responsibilities, not too much, not too little. Ensure controlled access to data, skills, tools. Only give them what they absolutely need for their role. Security 101, really.
Least privilege principle.
Exactly. And implement a reflective cycle where agents can somehow evaluate their own performance or output. Self-correction, ideally.
Interesting. And for multi-agent systems, where they collaborate.
Right. For those systems, robustness and trust are even more complex. Key principles include building understandable and explainable systems. You need to be able to see the chain of thought for each agent, how they reach decisions. Using composable design, bringing together best-of-breed components, maybe specialized agents, rather than one monolithic system.
Makes sense for flexibility.
Crucially, maintaining a human in the loop. Essential for safeguarding against errors, biases, unexpected outcomes. Keeps humans in control. Designing for dynamic data patterns, data needs to flow smoothly to and from the agents. Thinking about ecosystem integration, how do these agents fit with existing workflows and processes?
Avoiding silos.
Right. Ensuring continuous improvement and adaptation, the system needs to evolve. And always letting responsible governance and ethical considerations guide the entire design and deployment. Risk mitigation needs to be baked in.
That sounds like a solid framework, and it loops back to what you said earlier about readiness.
Exactly. For organizations wanting to really leverage this, getting agent ready is the crucial first step. That means organizing your own private proprietary data so agents can actually use it research against your internal documents, databases, knowledge bases. That's what will let companies truly differentiate, scale up, and get the best ROI from generative AI and agentic systems using their own unique knowledge.
What a fascinating journey through the world of AI agents. We've covered a lot of ground, from defining what they are, setting them apart from bots and assistants, to unpacking that sense, think, act cycle. We looked at a huge range of real-world uses, from cars driving themselves to helping with customer refunds, and we tackled those big expectations for 2025, separating the hype from the current reality. And importantly, we dug into the challenges of the operational risks, accountability, the critical need for responsible design, and that organizational readiness. It's definitely clear that AI agents are way more than just hype. They're true autonomous potential, still unfolding. And how we design them, how we prepare our organizations for them, that's really going to shape their impact. So reflecting on all this, what's the one thing that really stands out to you from our deep dive today? Is there a key takeaway you're mulling over? And here's a thought to leave you, our listener, with. Think about a task in your own life, professional or personal, that you currently feel is just too complex for automation. Maybe it needs creativity, or involves juggling lots of different information, or requires nuanced judgment. Now, considering everything we've discussed today, their evolving abilities, the potential for multi-agent collaboration, that sense, think, act cycle, how might a future AI agent, or maybe even a team of them, approach that very task? How might they transform something you currently think only a human can really handle? Something to mull over.